We see a lot of confusion out there about DUI testing. What the different kind of DUI testing is, what the difference between roadside sobriety tests and applied consent law tests are. Road sobriety tests are those tests that are given by a police officer when they pull somebody over right after they suspect them for DUI. They can be tests such as the heel-to-toe test, the walk and turn test, or with the horizontal gaze and nystagmus test, which is when the police officer shines a light in your eyes and asks you to follow it, or something called a PBT, or a pre-breath test. It's a breath test that you take right at the scene of the stop. That is not the kind of breath test that is subject to the implied consent law. Now, drivers do not have to participate in field sobriety tests. The purpose of field sobriety tests are only to give the stopping officer probable cause as to whether or not to arrest the driver for DUI. Once the driver is then arrested for the DUI, that's when the implied consent law kicks in. What is the implied consent law? It's the law in Pennsylvania that says that if you are a Pennsylvania licensed driver or driving on the roadways of Pennsylvania, that you have applied to give a test of blood or breath once requested by a law enforcement officer. What will traditionally happen is the officer should notify the person that they've been arrested or they are being arrested for DUI and that they're requesting a test of blood or breath, and then they will read them certain warnings that give them their rights. We've had people come in all the time saying, I would have taken a test of my breath, but I was just afraid of needles and I didn't want to take the blood test. Or they say, well, I wanted to speak to my attorney first to determine if I should take the test. Unfortunately, drivers do not have the choice of whether they take a blood or a breath test. The officer is going to take the test that is most convenient, and if there's a nearby hospital, they're likely going to take the person there rather than take them in for a breath test. Some departments don't even have breath testing capabilities. Unfortunately, anything other than an unqualified agreement to take the test is deemed a denial of the test in Pennsylvania. If the test is denied, then that will add an additional 1-year suspension to any license suspension the driver may receive from an ARD or a DUI conviction. If it's a second refusal, it will be an additional 18-month suspension on top of any suspension the driver may receive for their DUI. In addition, eligibility for an ignition interlock license is delayed by 6 months for a first refusal and 9 months for a second refusal. If you have any questions about DUI testing, or ignition interlock, call us at Mudrick Zucker and we'll be happy to talk to you about any of your questions.